Again, live share, a lot of new things happening here at Cosmic. Okay, great.
I was born this way. As a child, I laid in my bed and prayed for healing, but it never came. I wanted to play around with my brothers. They all have such fun playing, but I prayed God never heard me. God doesn't care about me. I am nothing in his sight. And I heard a man who walked the countryside. He performed miracles. His name was known far and wide. But the people in our city would laugh and say, no one such as he would come to Capernaum. And even if he did come, I wouldn't go. I don't go outside. But I have friends who come and see me. They bring me food to eat and make sure that I have clean water to drink. I like it when they come. It fills my heart. When they talk, I don't have to, because it's so hard when they speak. And one day I was laying in my bed. I had nothing to do. I was too tired. And I heard outside, I was listening to the sounds of the city. I heard my friends coming down. They were chattering and saying everything. I was happy to hear them come. But I heard four voices together. I know that they came to visit me. I couldn't have to say a thing. I just listened to them. Well, there was a pounding at my door. And the door burst open and I ran inside. And they said, come with us, he is here. The man who performs the miracles has come to our county. We must take you to him. And I said, no, I can't leave. I'll never go. He said, yes, you are coming. No, to us. And before I knew it, one of them had scooped me up in his arms, and the other had taken my bed. And soon 5 of us were heading down the street. And I said, no, please, I don't want to. And the people in the street were all really looking at me. Well, they wouldn't listen. They just kept talking, saying, we know that you will be healed today. And they took me to a big house at the end of the main road. And when we got there, there's so many people about that I knew that I couldn't get inside. The crowd was so large at the door. And I said, no, take me home, please. He said, no, you know that he will be healed today. He just has to see you. And I said, oh, he will never heal me. I closed my eyes and I tried to fight, but they wouldn't give up. We went and they circled around the house. I looked up myself and I could see that every window was full. And young and old had filled every opening into that house. And there was absolutely no way out to in. And I thought to myself, even if you could, even if you couldn't get in, I won't be healed. And I wept. And one of my friends came around from the back of the building, and he had a lengthy rope in his hand. And he said, we're going to take you up onto the roof. We're going to get you I wouldn't eat into my skin. And my three friends up on the roof, they came to the edge, and before I knew it, they started to pull on the rope. And I couldn't do anything. And soon, as to my horror, being put out the side of this building, I looked out into the street, and there were people staring at me. Some were pointing, and some were laughing. And I closed my eyes and willed that they would go away. And when I opened them again, they were still there. Oh, but mercifully, I felt two strong arms under my shoulders, and I was pulled up and laid on the roof. And I could no longer see those people. And my friends, they said, "We're going to get you in there." I didn't know how they were going to do it from up here. There was no door. And before I knew it, they started to pull away the roofing, piece by piece. Well, inside the building, there was this wonderfully firm but gentle voice of a man speaking the word of God. And I knew that must be him. When the roofing started to be pulled away, everything became silence. The crowd was listening with rapt attention to him, started to murmur, for I imagined they were questioning what was going on. And before I knew it, there was a big hole pulled back, and my friends were carrying me over to the edge of the opening. And I was saying, "Oh, please, just take me home. Not do this." They wouldn't listen. My pleas fell on deaf ears. Well, before I knew it, I was over that opening, and I was being lowered down into the room. The first thing I saw was the press of the people inside. It was not a square inch open for anyone to stand. A small space in front of where this man, Jesus, stood. And then as I kept going lower, I saw him. Our eyes met. His eyes were so gentle, and I felt such a gentleness in my heart. I could not believe it. And then a strong man with dark, tangled mane of hair came to grab me and helped me to the floor. And as I lay down on my back, I felt some relief. And I looked up and I saw my friends in the opening, looking down. They were smiling. I didn't know what to do. And then the big man bent over again and untied the ropes around my body. But I wasn't looking at him. I was looking at him who had smiled at me. And then he looked down and then up at my friends, seeing their expectant faces. And then he knelt down and in the kindest, most gentlest way, laid his hand upon my forehead and said, "Son, thy sins be forgiven thee." I felt such a lifting of a cloud off of my heart. I did not ever feel that way in my life. But then I heard the voice of someone. It sounded familiar. Yes, it was a leader from the temple. And he said, "What sort of blasphemies does this man speak? Only God can forgive sins." Jesus stood up. He looked at that leader from the temple, and he said, "Easier to say to the sick of the palsy, arise and take up thy bed and walk, or to say, thy sins are forgiven me." And then he looked at me again, and he glanced up one more time at my friends, with such expectation on their faces. But they didn't know what was going to happen. And then he bent down and said, "So that ye may know the Son of Man has been sent to this earth to perform miracles, I say unto thee, arise, take up thy bed, and walk unto thine own house." And instantly, I felt a tingling in my body. And for the first time, I was able to stand on my own. My arm, and they worked my face, was healed. And I looked at him, and on his face was a smile. Not the smile of the mockers that were in the street every day, but the smile of true compassion that only the Son of Man can have. And I knew in that instant that there were no words that I could speak that would be enough to say how much I appreciated what he had done. So instead, I picked up my bed, I looked at the crowd, they slowly parted, and I did as Jesus commanded. I went to